Well, you're getting close to the start of the college football season when they start putting out odds for the games, which that happened a while ago. They put out the odds for some of the bigger games this season, especially the week one matchups. But now they have come out with the season win totals for all the teams. Basically, what this is it's a number, right? Somewhere between 0 and 12, because you play 12 regular season games. It's a number. The sports book will give a team a number, and you get to bet on whether you think the team will win more games than that or less games than that. So the highest win total you can have is 11.5, right? And then you would either bet that a team is going to win more, which would be 12-0, or less, which would be 11-1 or worse, all the way down to, some of these teams are in the basement. 1.5 is the win total for some of these teams here. I'm going to read off everybody that has a projected win total of 8 games or higher. I'll put a link in the description of the video too, if you want to pull the list up and look at it yourself. Now, odds vary from casino to casino, from sportsbook to sportsbook, from online place to online place. This is Caesars Sportsbook out in Las Vegas. One of the most respected and well-known sports books on planet Earth. Anywhere you look, these numbers are going to be similar, but these numbers are pulled directly from Caesars Sportsbook in Vegas, which just put these numbers out yesterday. No surprise, the top 5 teams with the highest win totals are the same 5 teams that everybody has been talking about all offseason as having the best chances of winning a national title. Clemson and Alabama's win total is each at 11.5. So if you want to bet that, you're either betting over 11.5, which means you think Clemson and Bama will go 12-0, or you're going to bet the under, which means you think Clemson and Bama will go 11-1 or worse. Next, at 11 wins, Ohio State and Oklahoma. They have Ohio State and Oklahoma each projected at 11 wins. You can bet the over or the under. After that, Georgia at 10.5. They actually have one other team that falls into that category too. Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina projected at 11 wins. I know they were great last year. in a weird pandemic season. Nobody had heard anything about that team prior to last year, though. I would not be betting the over on Coastal Carolina. I would not be betting money that Coastal Carolina is going to go 12-0. And that's what you would have to think is going to happen if you're willing to bet the over here on Coastal Carolina. So those are the top 6 teams. The 5 of them are obvious. Clemson and Bama at 11.5. Ohio State and Oklahoma at 11. Georgia at 10.5. Those are the same 5 teams that are in the top 5 of every preseason poll you've seen since January. The order is the only thing that differs from poll to poll there. And then Coastal Carolina also there at 11. You have 2 teams with a win total of 10. North Carolina and Cincinnati. Now, these are interesting. Cincinnati's got a couple of tough Power 5 opponents on the schedule. North Carolina, of course, plays in the ACC, so make of that what you will. I know they play Notre Dame, but 10 wins each for those. You can bet the over-under there. Several teams at 9.5, some a little surprising. Miami, Texas A&M, Iowa State, Wisconsin, Central Florida. I'd take the over on Wisconsin. You can close your eyes and pretty much know Wisconsin's going to win 10 games a year. I know every once in a while they don't, but they win 10 or more often than not. That seems like maybe a wise decision. Take the Wisconsin over 9.5. I think they could win 10 games. What about Miami at 9.5? I think Miami has the potential to be good, but man, they haven't had back-to-back good seasons in 15 years. And they had a pretty good season last year. Got to avoid that letdown that's been haunting them here over the last few years. A lot of teams at 9 wins too. Washington, so that's the highest so far from the Pac-12. We've got some more Pac-12 teams also projected at 9, though. Washington, Penn State, Boise State, Florida, projected at 9 wins. Liberty, which is a Sunday school, projected at 9 wins. Notre Dame, projected at 9 wins. More on that in a second. Louisiana, that's Louisiana Monroe, or Lafayette, whichever one it was that was good last year. App State, Arizona State, and Oregon. A couple of things stand out to me here. Notre Dame at 9, over. Notre Dame will win more than 9 games. Oh my God, they lost Ian Book. He wasn't that good. Look at Notre Dame's schedule. They play Southern Cal and North Carolina. Outside of that, they're likely to be a double-digit favorite in most of their games. I'm kind of surprised Notre Dame's at 9. I would bet Notre Dame over 9. What about Florida at 9? A lot of people expecting a terrible year for Florida. I've been hearing about it for months. 5, 6, 7 wins, some people are saying. I don't think it'll be that bad. I think 9 is probably the right number to have if you're looking for somebody to bet. I wouldn't bet the over. I don't think Florida's going 10-2. I don't think I'd bet the under either, though, at 8-4. I think 9 is probably the right number for Florida. And what about Arizona State at 9 wins? Now, I agree Arizona State could win 9 games, but a lot of distractions going on there right now. NCAA investigation, some coaches, including Herm Edwards, may find themselves without a job here in the next week or so. I would probably take the under on that Arizona State at 9 wins. 8.5 wins. You've got Southern Cal, Utah, LSU, Iowa, and Toledo. Southern Cal, Utah, LSU. LSU at 8.5, I would take the over. I think LSU is going to win 10 games. People are sleeping on LSU because they were terrible last year at 5-5. LSU is not a 5-win team. I think LSU is going to win at least 9, aren't they? 8.5 seems a little low. I would take over on the LSU. And then finally at 8 wins, you've got the Texas Shorthorn, Houston, Marshall, Army, Wyoming, Buffalo, and Memphis. So we've got our first team from the great state of Tennessee here making an appearance. Memphis, projected at 8 wins. Texas at 8 wins too. That might be a little low. I know Oklahoma and Iowa State are going to be good, but 8 wins might be a little bit low for Texas. I know they got a new coaching staff and a new quarterback, but they do have some talent there. Now, I'm going to read off just some other ones that are of interest. Again, there's 130 teams on the list. I'm not fixing to read all of them off, but here's some ones that are projected below 8 wins that some of you guys might find interesting. Michigan, 7.5. Ole Miss, 7.5. I would take the over on Ole Miss. Ole Miss could surprise some people this year. Their defense is going to have to keep them in some games, but I could see Ole Miss going 8-4. This might be the biggest surprise to me, though. Indiana at 7.5. People are high on Indiana, at least everybody I talk to. 7.5 seems awfully low to me. They'd have to lose 5 games for the under to hit. They'd have to go 7-5. I don't know. I would take the over on Indiana. Don't they seem like an 8 or 9 win team? 7.5 seems real low for Indiana. Auburn, 7. Well, that's not fair. That's not fair. Well, life's not fair, Barner. You're projected at 7 wins. Kentucky, 7 wins. Missouri, 7 wins. Give me the over on Missouri. I'll take Missouri over 7 wins. Missouri is a team in the SEC I think people are sleeping on. I think they're better than what people think. I think they could finish second in the East, actually. I like the over on Missouri. Pitt's at 7 also. West Virginia, 6.5. So Pitt, West Virginia, we got some fans that like to go back and forth in the comment section and on the phone, on the call-in shows around here, West Virginia and Pitt fans. Pitt projected 7 wins. West Virginia projected 6.5. BYU, the Mormon man, 6.5. Big drop-off from last year expected there, I guess. Tennessee, 6 wins. Tennessee projected to make a bowl game. This is groundbreaking news. They're going to have to give Josh Heupel an extension and $1 million a day raise if he somehow raises Tennessee from the dredges that they've been tumbling around in and somehow manages to get them bowl eligible with 6 wins. But Tennessee projected for 6 wins. Nebraska projected for 6 wins. Could be Scott Frost last year there. If they hit under this 6 and don't even make a bowl game, they may have to get rid of Scott Frost. Mississippi State projected at 6. Florida State, 5.5. Man, are they ever going to get out of the toilet bowl? Florida State projected 5.5 wins. Arkansas projected 5.5 wins. Anybody brave enough to take the over there? Good story last year out of Arkansas. Sam Pittman, first year, won some games people didn't think he would win. A lot of people talking about him this offseason. I don't know. They still play in the SEC West. They still have a tough schedule. They draw Georgia out of the East. I don't know. Georgia Tech, 5 wins. Sorry, nerds, no bowl game for you, according to the good people out in Vegas. Purdue man, Boiler up, hammer down. Projected for 5 wins, though, so mostly down, looks like. Michigan State, 4.5. Mel Tucker got a... Mel Tucker's got a tough job out there. 4.5 wins for Michigan State. Stanford, oh my God, Stanford projected at 3.5 wins? What? How's that possible? God, I really like David Shaw, but what is going on out there? Stanford projected at 3.5 wins. You used to could close your eyes and know they'd win 9 games. South Carolina, 3.5 wins. Jesus. Vandy, 3 wins. Kansas was the lowest on the entire list with 1.5 wins. So there you go. I listed every team that's projected for 8 wins or higher and just rattled off some of the other ones I thought some of you guys might be interested in. Again, I'll try to leave a link in the description down below to the article that lists all 130-something teams and their projected win totals. Let me know in the comments down below, too, which ones do you think are the most wrong? Indiana seems a little strange to me. I think Indiana, I would take the over at Indiana, 7.5. I would take the over on Notre Dame at 9. Probably take the over on Wisconsin at 9.5. Tennessee at 6. Of course, I'll take the under there. They're not making a bowl game. South Carolina, 3.5. You know what? I'll take the over. They could get lucky and go 4-8. Georgia Tech at 5. I'm tempted to take the over there, honestly. I think Georgia Tech could have a decent season this year. BYU, 6.5. I'll take the under. I think they're going 0-12. Have a good morning.